Hi, and thank you for listening. This is Sherry Andrea. Today, I want to talk about ghosts, lost spirits, and crossing them over into the light. Um, I started off by saying ghost. The reason why is because I want to explain that I named this video based on what I thought people might search for, so that they'd be able to find this video. So I know some that maybe don't know a lot about spirits, entities, angels, etc., etc. They may think of these spirits that I'm talking about as ghosts. Many people are familiar with some of the shows that are popular. Ghost hunting shows, sorry that I don't know what they're actually called because I don't watch them, but paranormal shows right now are still very popular, so some people are more familiar with the term ghost. First of all, let me explain that ghost, there's a couple different ways to look at this. Okay, first of all, there is what's called an energy imprint, and sometimes that's all you're dealing with, is that a spirit's not actually really there. It's just their energy imprint that's been left behind. For example, often you can tell when that's the case when someone says, oh, you know, this house I used to live in, at a certain time in the evening, I would see this spirit washing dishes in the kitchen. Then they would come out of the kitchen and proceed to walk upstairs. And they always did this routine. Every evening I saw them do this routine. Why? Because it's an energy imprint. Maybe while that person was alive, this was a routine that they had for years, maybe a very long time. And they had such a routine, and it was such a routine that it left an imprint. Or maybe something tragic happened. Maybe someone was killed and the event was so tragic and there was so much energy that was put out when this incident happened that it left an imprint. So sometimes you are dealing with imprints and you're not actually dealing with an actual spirit themselves. It's good to know the difference, especially if you are, for whatever reason, delving into this sort of thing. It's very good to know the difference and know how to tell the difference. I'll often ask people questions like, did you try to, when you saw this spirit doing whatever, did you try to talk to it? Did you try to get its attention? Did it seem to be aware that you were there, that you were present? And often they'll say, well, no, it didn't seem to even notice that I was in the room. It never looked at me. I tried to speak to it. It didn't even maybe notice, give any indication that it heard me. So these are some of the questions that I ask to get to the bottom of, is what you're dealing with an energy imprint or an actual spirit? Okay, so let's move on to the, because that's what this discussion is about, the actual spirits from when someone has died and they have not, as of yet, crossed over yet. Some people call them lost spirits, lost souls. Some people call them discarnate spirits, basically discarnate without a body, spirit without a body. The first thing I want to explain is that not everyone will deal with this. Not everyone will have an experience with a discarnate spirit. It depends on many factors. First of all, it depends on where your vibrations are at and what you're attracting. For example, when I first started out and my psychic abilities awakened, I hadn't previously been working on myself or doing any spiritual work, and so my vibrations were still fairly low. I was just that normal average person that's just like everybody else where throughout the day, maybe I was getting upset about this, upset about that. I was putting out my share of negative energy, believe me. So my vibrations were at a level where many people's vibrations are at. And so the thing is, you awaken, whether it's a psychic awakening or a spiritual awakening, at the time that you awake, your vibrations do increase a little bit, but not enough. Not until you actually purposely work on that. So what happens is, okay, now, so here I am, my psychic abilities have awakened, so I have the ability to sense spirits. However, my vibrations are still fairly low, so guess what? Wherever you are at, that is what you attract. So if your vibrations are low, you attract lower level entities. This is one reason to put serious thought into purposely awakening your abilities. I'm not saying put serious thought into it to think about not wanting to do it, but thinking about what is the best way to go about doing it. You don't want to end up awakening and being at that lower vibratory rate and attracting everything at that level. You really want to be at least at a level where you're not left and right attracting so many lower level spirits that it seems like you're Motel 6. You know, you always got the light on. That vacancy sign is always out there. It can be very hard and very stressful on you. And if you have family, husband, children, they may find that they end up having to deal with what you've attracted. So it's not just you. Often, we don't think about the others who are around us, friends, family. Often we don't think, oh, they're going to have to deal with this too. Often, that's the furthest thing from our mind. We're so focused on awakening, working on ourselves, working on those psychic abilities that we really don't take into consideration whatever we attract, whoever is around us, living with us, they're going to have to deal with it too. Their energy may get zapped as well. It's just like if someone's psychically attacking me, I have to not only make sure I clear myself, protect myself, try to stop that energy attack, but I also have to take in consideration, that I have a child in the house, so I have to make sure that I protect him from it. So just as I may say, okay, well, I feel the effects from the psychic attack, and now I have to clear myself, protect myself, I have to be able to do the same for him. So that's why I say it would be great if you do enough research and put enough thought into how you're going to go about psychically awakening, because once you awaken, you will be attracting things at the level you're at. So now there are other instances where this rule does not apply. For example, as you work on yourself spiritually and you raise your vibrations higher and higher and higher, eventually you're going to raise your vibrations high enough that you're far enough away from the lower level spirits that they can't really reach you. In the beginning, I was dealing with discordant spirits left and right. But now that my vibrations are a lot higher than they used to be, I don't deal with those issues anymore. I don't deal with discordant spirits, or rather I should say, I don't find them coming my way. Why? Because you could almost say they can't see me. They can't see me. They can't see my light. I'm too far away from them. Their vibrations, maybe is at a 2 or a 3. And if my vibrations are an 8 or a 9, liken it to distance. My neighbor right across the street, I may be able to yell across the street and she can hear me. But now the person who is 10 miles away from me, I can yell at the top of my lungs, but they're not going to hear me because we're too far away from each other. So where your vibrations are at compared to where vibrations of lower level spirits are at, it's that distance of whether or not they're going to be coming to you for help. They're even going to be able to see you, see your light. But like I said, there's exceptions to the rule. Like, for example, sometimes you may move into a house and there may be a spirit already there. Maybe someone where before they died, that was their house. Maybe that was their house for 50 or more years. And they were very attached to this house. So this may be the place that if they don't cross over, that they decide to stay at and refuse to leave. And so here you are, you buy the house, you move in, only to realize you start having all of these experiences. Light bulbs blowing, the electronics are being affected, you hear noises that you can't explain, temperature in the house is a little weird or off. Maybe part of the house is at a constant normal temperature, but then another part of the house is always cold. Or at times you feel an increase in energy and a great dip in the temperature. Either you may see it on a thermostat or you may just feel it. You may feel like the temperature dropped like 20 degrees. So in a case like that scenario is actually very possible for a person to have that's actually reached a high vibrational level. Because now what happens is there may be coming into a house or a place where the spirits are already there and maybe is very territorial about the place. Maybe there is some fear that the spirit has that, because the spirit can feel and sense the energy of that person. So that spirit may have been okay with somebody else that came into the house because it could sense the energy, the person's vibration, so maybe it didn't feel threatened by somebody else that came in the house. But now all of a sudden, you get somebody coming into a house that has high vibrations that spirit senses, so then that spirit might be like, uh-oh, this person's vibrations is higher. This person may have the skill and the ability and the strength to make me leave. And if they have some fear with leaving, fear of crossing over, fear of what may be waiting for them on the other side, then they may become very territorial to the point where they may try to almost make you leave. They may make it very difficult for you to live there because they may even bombard you with maybe what feels like some negative energy based on the emotions that they have, because you have to keep in mind they haven't crossed over, they're still grounded to the earth. So whatever issues and things they had in life, they still have those issues. They're still grounded to the earth. So sometimes there's many different types of discarnate spirits that you can deal with. For example, there is the sudden death accident where the death was very unexpected. They weren't expecting to die, and now that they don't realize that they're dead. They're very confused. They don't know where they are. They're very confused because they don't understand why their family and friends aren't responding back to them when they try to communicate with them. So it may be a confusion of, why aren't they talking back to me? Why is nobody speaking to me? Why is it they don't see me? And this is maybe very scary for them, very confusing. They may have emotions that are like of panic about what is going on. Where am I at? What's happening? Often it's not unusual for them to get confused and end up in a place where they confuse a person they see for one of their loved ones, which actually happened to my son, where he woke up in the middle of the night and a man who had died in a car accident found us. I know that sounds strange, but when I say found us, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I had been watching the news and I saw the news report about the accident, and the next thing you know, the spirit's in my house. Why? Because your energy goes where your focus goes. I was watching the news and I saw this news report on the accident, and my focus went there. And so now this was a long time ago when my vibrations were lower, and so that's how the spirit ended up finding us, ended up seeing our light to be able to come to us, to end up in my house, standing next to my son's bed, mistaking my son for his son. That was an incident where it was very easy to cross the spirit over. It was just a matter of explaining to him what had happened, that my son was not his son, and what needed to take place, what he needed to do, and then calling on the angels and the ascended masters to come and help him cross over, help him find the light and cross over, or rather help him see the light and cross over. So there are so many different types of ways that it can happen, that a spirit can end up on the other side, not crossing over. That is one of the ways. The unexpected death. One of the other ways is that their belief system. Their belief system may have them feeling that they're undeserving to go into the light, that they have done things in life where they don't deserve the reward of the light. And so in a case like that, sometimes it's not that they don't see the light, it's that they refuse to look at it. They refuse to actually face it and look into it because they feel undeserving of it. This is something where, what's required is basically love and time. Sometimes in a case like that, the angels are already there and surrounding the spirit and talking to the spirit and trying to make this spirit feel love, trying to explain things to the spirit, trying to explain that the things that happen in their life aren't going to be held against them, trying to get the spirit to the point where they feel comfortable enough facing the light to even consider going into it. This is something that sometimes takes a while, which leads me to the next situation, which is suicide. Someone that purposely takes their life ends up on the other side, not crossing over, because they have a great amount of guilt, shame, regret, fear that they're going to be punished for what they've done. And again, a lot of what they feel may be based on what they believe, what they learned in life. Maybe the religion they followed in life taught them that to do such a thing, they would go to hell. And so now they're still grounded to the earth, so they're still dealing with the knowledge and understanding they had while they were alive. So if that's what they understood and believed, then they may be refusing. They may see the light and may be refusing to go into it out of fear of what's waiting for them on the other side. Or they also may have great concern for their family and how their family is dealing with the loss. And so they may be refusing to cross over until they get a message to their family to let them know, one, they're okay, two, that they're sorry,